It has to be Cristiano Ronaldo.
Sixers, if they play Boston first round, Celtics are a first round exit.
Oh
They're
my
going
gosh, you are
bye.
insane.
And all 4 games that they lost in the ALCS were in Houston, the only place that they were cheating. Now,
The same way he's been playing, it doesn't matter. If Sam Darnold has that coaching staff in that playbook, he's a better player. We saw it in the last 5 weeks of the NFL regular season last year, and we're going to see it this entire season.
Hang on.
Wait,
Kawhi Leonard is just a tad better than LeBron James. After
welcome back to
championship.
Go Chat. Welcome back to another episode. We are on episode number 7.
hi, everybody. Welcome back to GOAT Chat. It's episode 11. I'm alongside Matt Kane, Connor Wood, and Mike Boetti. We have a great show for you today, and we're going to start with the GOAT of the number 11, which is sponsored by 1306 Sports. If you need more sports content, go over to them. They have a lot of great articles and other podcasts as well. So, Mike, I'm going to start with you. Who is your GOAT of the number 11?
There are a few really good options here, but I have to go with Mark Messier of the NHL. He's third in points in all of NHL history, third in assists, 9th in goals. He's second in all-time games played. He's second in playoff assists. I mean, what more can you ask from the guy? Second playoff points, multiple Stanley Cups, plenty of All-Stars to his resume. I mean, he's one of the best hockey players to ever live and to ever play the game. So I'm going with Mark Messier.
That's a very good one. Matt, how about you?
I'm going to have to agree with Mike. I'm going to go with Mark Messier too. Mike said everything he said was great. 6-time Stanley Cup winner, 2-time Hart Memorial Trophy winner. He was a Conn Smythe winner in 1983 and 84, and he's really been known for his performance with the Oilers as well as the Rangers. So I think when you have a player like that who's known for 2 different teams, the same number, obviously we got 11s, but I think it's definitely got to be Messier.
Well, not only that, but the thing about Messier, he captained both the Oilers and the Rangers to Stanley Cup. I think he's the only player in NHL history to do that. I'm not sure if any other players in any other sports can say they captained 2 different teams and won a championship with those teams. So Mark Messier might be one of the only athletes of all time to ever do that.
Very good. Connor, what about you?
I'm going to go with a former NBA player, Isaiah Thomas. He was a 2-time NBA champion, Finals MVP in 1990, went to 12 All-Star games. He was a 2-time All-Star game MVP. He led the NBA in assists in 1985. As well as all that stuff they did in the NBA, he was also an NCAA champion in 1981 with Indiana. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2006. So he may not have the rap sheet like Mark Messier has in the NHL, but he was definitely a very huge player for the NBA in the mid-'80s, early '90s, and his number 11 will always live on in Detroit Pistons history.
That's a great one. And I don't want to go too much off on a tangent, but do you guys think that he should have been on the Dream Team, or do you think that all the selections were correct?
He could have been on the Dream Team. He could have fit there.
He was definitely talented enough to be on the Dream Team. In fact, for the last spot, they chose his teammate, Joe Dumars, over him. Joe Dumars was not better than him. I think it was just for the fit. And to be honest, no one on that team liked him. If you watch The Last Dance, Magic Johnson said Michael Jordan was not the only one that disliked Isaiah Thomas on that team. You had Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen. I mean, all those guys were not fans of Isaiah Thomas. As talented of a player as he was, they didn't really need him. They didn't want him.
Tommy, who's your go to the number 11?
I'm going to go with Barry Larkin. He spent his entire career with the Cincinnati Reds. Incredible shortstop. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012, I believe. He won MVP, 3 Gold Gloves, 9-time Silver Slugger winner. He was a member of 12 All-Star teams in a 1990 World Series champion. All-around great player. He had over 2,300 hits. And he didn't hit for as much power, only 198 home runs, but he was very consistent with that 295 batting average. He was a staple there in Cincinnati for 18 years. And while he didn't win as much as some of the others that we mentioned today, only one World Series to his name, he's very impactful for the game, still helps it grow today. So I'm going to go with Barry Larkin for my go the number 11.
These are all great guys. I do want to mention one person who I thought of when I thought of the number 11, and he is someone who's still playing today, and that is the Arizona Cardinals number 11, Larry Fitzgerald. He has had a great career, and we see these numbers over and over again about how he has more tackles than he does drops in his entire career. And that's just insane to hear from a wide receiver. So, and he's been super consistent over his entire career. So he's definitely an honorable mention for number 11.
For sure.
We forget Yao Ming. Yao Ming, man. I mean, even though his career was short, he was still a big presence on the floor. And again, he was very tall, but he was also very skilled. China trained him to be to literally be like a basketball machine, and they did a pretty good job of that. So Yao Ming is definitely one of those great number 11s.
For sure. Any other people we can mention out before we wrap this up?
I would say Phil Simms with the Giants when he was the quarterback there. He had a couple Super Bowls with the Giants there, so he's definitely a mention.
Yeah.
And somebody that I know isn't a GOAT of the number 11, Mike knows who I'm going to say. Got to go, I got to acknowledge Brett Gardner. He's still with the Yankees today. He's coming back for his 12th season. Hopefully they'll get going soon. But, he won a World Series with the Yankees in 2009, and he's just a fan favorite. So want to acknowledge Brett. But obviously he's not the level of these other players.
Awesome. Well, it looks like that wraps up the GOAT of the number 11. Next episode, we'll be doing the GOAT of the number 12. Should be a good one. But next up, we're talking about some NFL news and Jamal Adams. Welcome back to GOAT Chat. We obviously ended last time with the GOAT of the number 11. Now we're moving into some NFL news. Before we talk about the big stuff like Jamal Adams, I just want to say we found out that left guard Brandon Brooks tore his Achilles last week, and also Deebo Samuel broke his foot. So Brooks will probably not see the field if there's a season, hopefully. But and Deebo Samuel should be seeing the field in September. But let's move in right to Jamal Adams. The breaking news: he requested a trade from the New York Jets. He has 2 years left in his contract, but obviously they've been having some issues about his contract disputes. So he said that he wants to get traded. He thinks it's the best for him and for the team. What are your guys' thoughts? Connor, we should just start with you. We see behind you that you got the Jets flag out or thing, whatever that is, but we can start with you.
Before I do talk about Jamal Adams, I just do want to throw out a quick congratulations to my guy Mike Boetti down here. Dallas did sign, or is intending to sign, Dak Prescott on his franchise tag. So that is big news for Mike and for Dallas.
We'll get into that.
Get back to the Jets. Jamal Adams was a 2016 first-round pick, number 6 overall, or 2017, I think it was. 2017 he was picked, and his rookie contract is still going on. The Jets picked up his 5th year, and he doesn't think it's enough. The Jets have all intentions on signing Jamal Adams. Jamal doesn't think the Jets want to sign him, but the Jets are holding off their contract talks because of the cap space, and they don't know how it's going to be affected because of the coronavirus. The Jets have not signed any contract extensions throughout the entire offseason. The other thing with Jamal Adams is he's asking for well above $20 million a year, which may be what he's worth because of his play style. But right now, the highest salary for a strong safety is $14.6 million held by Eddie Jackson in Chicago. Now, yes, he may be a better safety than Eddie Jackson, but I still don't think he's worth the quarterback money. I mean, he has several trade destinations that he listed out to the Jets here. I mean, I can name off. He got Baltimore, Houston, Kansas City, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Dallas. Now,
Houston too.
The Jets had some trade talks with Dallas in the past, and they didn't ever seem to iron anything out. So I personally would take Dallas off of my list of where Jamal could go. Where do you guys think Jamal could end up if the Jets do intend on trading him?
Personally, I don't think he's going to get traded. I think the asking price that the Jets are asking for Jamal is too high. Plus, what Jamal wants to get paid is ridiculous. As good as Jamal is, at the end of the day, he does play strong safety, and he is kind of like a strong safety linebacker combo, you could say. But he shouldn't be getting $20 million a year, much less over that, right? I think Tampa Bay would be a great spot for him. Obviously, Dallas, they don't necessarily have a glaring need there, but they need playmakers in their defensive backfield. And I think Philly would be a great spot for him too. But Philly let Malcolm Jenkins walk, their captain of their defense from last year. Let him go to New Orleans. He was probably their most consistent player over like the past 5 years for the Eagles. I mean, he was just a staple of their defense. And they just let him walk in free agency. They drafted a safety in the draft. So I think he could cross off Philly there. I think the only possible destinations now, maybe you could think of Dallas, obviously one of them. I think Tampa Bay, like I said before, and Seattle. They don't have great safeties. They could definitely use an upgrade. I think they have the capital to trade for Jamal. I'm not sure if they have the cap space to sign Jamal because they haven't signed Jadeveon Clowney because of cap space trouble. And for Houston, it would be another good spot, but they don't have the capital with the Laremy Tunsil trade last year. They gave 2 first-round picks. What are they going to give up? I mean, maybe the second-round pick they got from Arizona for DeAndre Hopkins. But yeah, I think the Jets are stuck in a tough position here. Jamal just wants his money, but I think it's too much.
That's the thing. You mentioned these the cap space on these other teams that he mentioned. Now, he did also come out and say that if he were to get traded, he's not looking for an extension immediately, which ultimately means Jamal is just looking to get out of New York. And he's really showing some immaturity, in my opinion, because he's taken to social media and is commenting on fans' comments about his personal needs and all that stuff. And that's not something that fans need to be told. He's disrespecting the fans of New York, in my opinion. He's taking to Instagram and to Twitter and telling them how he needs to be paid and how they should respect him. And that's way beyond what I believe an athlete should do to the fans of their team. What do you guys think about that?
That's kind of crazy. I mean, I didn't really know about the social media. Haven't been checking out this a lot. That's why we have you, Connor, being a Jets fan. But that's kind of crazy. I mean, it just makes him kind of seem like a diva and just another player who wants the money.
Well, like you look at what the comment was. It was this long response to a fan, and no offense to I guess some offense, but you're not going to see Dak Prescott going out and commenting on a fan's post when he's been looking for a contract for over a year. You know, Jamal still has a year on his contract. Yes, he might be the best safety in the league, and Dak Prescott is not the best quarterback in the league. But I think Jamal is being selfish a little bit here. I mean, I think it's more that he wants to play for a winning team. No offense, Connor, but the Jets really haven't won much lately. So, I mean, you look at his list, and you could tell that he wants to go to a winning team. There are all teams that made the playoffs or came very close to making the playoffs last year, right? And one thing you said that he was not looking for an extension when getting traded. There were some reports that from Mike Fisher that Dallas is his preferred spot because he grew up in Texas around Dallas, and there were also other reports saying that he would take a hometown discount for Dallas. So once again, I think Dallas is the most likely destination, but the Jets are playing it smart here, and they aren't lowering their price, because they still have another year of Jamal, right? And if he holds out, he's losing out all that money on that 5th-year option. So I think it's just another game of cat and mouse between the Jets between an organization and a player. It's just business as usual. I think Jamal is taking it to a new level. I think he's more outspoken about it. I mean, how many athletes have you seen do that? I think like he is being a little immature, but it's kind of hard to like see where like these athletes are coming from, because if I was put in that position, you see all these comments, oh, Jamal, you're being selfish, all that stuff, I would feel some type of way about it too. But at the end of the day, you can't go out and disrespect your own fans. They've been with you since day one, since you got drafted to the Jets. Then you come out and you disrespect them. You have to understand where they're coming up from and just keep it to yourself. Be mature. I mean, I don't know who he responded to, but I'm sure it was probably some teenager like us.
Some troll,
Yes, some troll like Matt Cain over here. So I think – go ahead, Connor.
I was just going to say, before I ask for Tommy's opinion on this, I do just want to mention one thing. You did say that the Jets haven't been winning a lot in the past, which is true, which shows in Jamal's numbers, because Jamal said that if he goes to a winning team, he can change the culture completely there. But since the Jets drafted him, they are 14-32. No, a strong safety may not make that big of a difference on a football team. But when you're a player like Jamal Adams asking for that much money, you should be able to bring the win total up on a team if you're asking for plus $20 million a year and you're one of the best safeties in the league. The defense is huge for me, in my opinion, in the NFL. And he's played a very pivotal role on the Jets defense for the past 3 seasons, but yet they've still been getting scored on like crazy. So, yes, you bring him to a winning team where that defense around him may be a little bit better and the offense may be able to match the other offense. But still, a 14-32 record since he's been drafted doesn't vote very well for Jamal.
I mean, for sure. I mean, just when you were saying that, I thought immediately to Minkah Fitzpatrick and how he got traded to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh even got like better. I mean, yeah, Pittsburgh does have TJ Watt and Cameron Hayward, but still, I think that Minkah's impact on the Pittsburgh Steelers really put them close to playoff contention, obviously, as they were 7th, I'm pretty sure, in the AFC. So you make a very good point there, Connor.
Tommy, we haven't heard from you. Who do you think Jamal Adams could end up with here at the end of this entire thing?
Yeah, well, before I get into that, I think what you guys said was absolutely right. And it's very interesting about, him responding to that fan, to his own fans. And like you said, Mike, you think that he might end up staying there with the Jets? What's that relationship going to be like with the fans? And, I know I always tie it back to baseball, but Clint Frazier, he has done some
I was just
stuff
thinking
like
about that.
And, there's some fans that aren't thrilled with him still today. So, you hope that he can mend that relationship with the fans if he does end up staying. But ultimately, I think he will get traded. I think it's going to be with Tampa Bay. I think it's just the best fit for him. And I think that's what the Bucs are trying to do. They're trying to win. Obviously, they brought in Brady and Gronk over the offseason. They're bringing in these big pieces. And I think that Jamal would just strengthen their team overall. And I think he's the best fit for them.
The one thing that you did mention there about the relationship between Jamal and the fans is being a huge fan of just the NFL in general. Fans like to see their teams win. So I would say the best way for Jamal, if he were to stay in New York, to mend that relationship between the fans, the owners, the GMs, and everything, is just to bring a winning culture to the Jets, which is something that they haven't had in close to 10 years since they made those back-to-back AFC championship games. And Jamal's an explosive player. Wherever he goes, whether he stays with the Jets or he does get traded, they're getting a key piece to their defense. It's a leader. It's someone who's going to get you fired up before every single game and going to make you feel like you can go out there on the field and fly around and hit these people. And whether he stays in New York or he's traded, he's going to have that mentality. Because a lot of players in the NFL, it really doesn't matter to them where they're playing. They just want to be playing football. So Jamal Adams is always going to have that mentality of flying around the field and just putting his helmet to other players. So I would say if he were to play like that and to bring that winning culture back to the Jets, that relationship between him and the fans will get better.
Well, I think it's going to be kind of hard for Jamal to do that because, again, he's only one player, and he has 10 other people to rely on that defense. And let's be honest, I mean, C.J. Mosley is a great player, but he was injured for most of last season, right? The Jets don't have a lot of other pieces on the defense to help Jamal out. You know, I mean, their cornerbacks aren't good. You know, they've drafted a ton of defensive line talent. What does it come to? A poor defense. That's what it's come to. I mean, Jamal has been by far the best player on the New York Jets ever since he got drafted. And, you know, and you were saying a winning mentality. I feel like every player in the NFL has a winning mentality. It's just like how strong it is. You don't get to the NFL with a losing mentality. Let's be honest. The NFL is one of the hardest sports leagues to even like get at the cusp to, much less become a star like Jamal Adams is. So Jamal Adams obviously wants to win. You can see that with what teams he wants to go to. And you can see that every time he gets on the field. I mean, what other defensive player is ripping a ball out of a quarterback's hand and running at 30 yards for a touchdown? I mean, he just completely babied Daniel Jones on that play. It was just absolutely embarrassing. And as a Cowboys fan, I love to see it. That's why I want him on the Cowboys. He's a monster. But he needs to grow up and just accept the fact that it's business. You can't take it personal. You don't see Dak Prescott going out and commenting on Instagram posts saying that he doesn't deserve $40 million. I mean, give me a break, Jamal. You got to grow a pair and just man up. You will get your money. Don't worry about it. You're the best safety in the league. You're going to get your money. Just be patient. And he's not being patient.
What would you guys say is the asking price that the Jets should be asking for a player like Jamal Adams? In my opinion, I would say they should be getting at least 2 first-round picks and maybe a player.
I don't know if I throw in the player if you give him 2 first-round picks. I think that might be a little too much. Just a little too high. I don't think anyone would jump on.
No one's going for that. I mean, the reports of trade talks between Jets and Dallas last off, like at the deadline, were a first and a third.
That's not going to happen. With Joe taking over the Jets, and he's not like these former GMs that the Jets have had in Mike McCagnon or John Idzik. He is all about the business. He is a business GM, and he's not going to take a deal like that. The Jets are going to get what they want if Jamal is traded. They're not going to take anything less because ultimately they still have 2 more years of Jamal Adams. So if they don't get the trade they want, he's not going anywhere. So these teams need to ask what they should be asking to the Jets, or ultimately they're not getting it.
I think it should be a first and a second. I had one of my friends who was also a Jets fan. He told me that he wants a first and a second. I think a first and a second is fair, especially when you're trading with one of those contending teams and you're adding the best safety in the league to one of those teams. I mean, they're just going to shoot up the rankings of the NFL and become a contender for the Super Bowl, no matter what team he goes to on his list, right? So I think a first and a second is a fair asking price.
But the only thing with these first-round picks is all these teams that he listed are top contenders, which means the pick in the draft is going to be very late. So you're giving up a franchise player for a solid first-round pick who you don't know who it could turn into. So I would say if I'm trading with one of these top contenders, I need 2 first-round picks. I need 2 solid players to make up for my 1 franchise player that I'm giving up.
It just depends on the team. You know, maybe with the Houston Texans, they'll throw in Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt for a bag of Tostitos chips with Jamal Adams, obviously. But I think it depends on the team you're getting. I don't know if a team's going to give up 2 first-round picks.
No shot. I mean,
that's a lot.
Depending on how willing he is on the contract extension. Because, again, you have to remember, he only has 1 year left. They have to trade for him and sign him to an extension. And all of these teams are cap-strapped, right? So it's going to be tough. Another one of my friends suggested this to me. What if Dallas traded Amari Cooper just straight up for Jamal?
I was actually talking with some family the other day, and the Jets, before Amari Cooper signed with Dallas, was in contention for Amari Cooper. So I feel like that could work. I don't know.
I feel like that's not going to work. I feel like that just won't happen. But
Well, the thing with Amari is I don't think he compares to Jamal as a player. I think Amari is very inconsistent, but he's extremely talented. So if you can find some consistency with him, like he played insane at home last year, but on the road, I mean, he was a ghost. Like at that game at MetLife Stadium against the Jets, comes out for 3/4 of the game. He apparently was injured. I'm calling BS on that, but he did not show up for that game.
Do we have any last-minute comments on Jamal before we let Mike talk about the Dak Prescott deal and what he thinks that could be for the outlook of Dallas?
no, not as of right now. I don't have any more comments.
Mike, take it away.
Yeah, so what's going on with Dak in Dallas? Dak is planning to sign a $31.5 million franchise tag tender with Dallas on Monday. So that's great news. I don't think he's going to hold out since he's signing the tender. So he's going to get his money. He's going to show up to camp, hopefully. And I think this is very good news, something that we have not gotten out of Dallas regards to Dak contract talks. So I think this is great news for Dallas. Hopefully an extension is in the works, and everyone's saying that he wants $40 million a year. He doesn't. He just wants his salary to go up the same rate as a salary cap does. So his first year he wants to get paid like $35 million, and then by like his fourth or fifth year, however long an extension is, he wants it to be prorated equivalently. There we go. So what do you guys think about the Dak situation? Do you think this is good things to come for Dallas? I'll start with you, Matt.
Well, wait. Well, do you know 100% sure if that would be like his first year in the contract when you said $35 million, or were you just saying that?
Well, what they've been talking about is a contract around 34 to 35 annually, and then the guaranteed money would be around $110 million for the entire contract.
Okay. See, that's where I don't know, because I was searching this, and Russell Wilson's the highest paid per year right now at $35 million per season, followed by Big Ben at like 34.1, and I know Rodgers is 33.5. So I don't know if he's worth all that money. I mean, he's definitely worth the money, probably worth the money that he's getting right now with the 30.1?
31.5.
31.5, yeah. He's probably worth that. I just don't think that he's worth 35, but I mean, I think he's Dallas Cowboys franchise quarterback. I mean, it pains me to say it, but
I'd say this is definitely a step in the right direction for Dallas. They're going to wind up paying him because Dak wants to be there. Dak wants to be a Dallas Cowboy, so he's going to get the money from Dallas. This is definitely a step in the right direction, and they are definitely getting closer to that deal.
Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think that ultimately they're going to work it out, and he'll be there. And like you said, Connor, the big thing is that he wants to be there. So I think that in the end, both sides will be able to work it out because, I mean, who wouldn't want Dak Prescott as their quarterback? And if he wants to be there, they're going to make it work. So I know Mike liked that one, but yeah, I think eventually they'll work it out and he'll be there to stay.
Mm-hmm. And I've said this before on this podcast. Dallas lost this deal exponentially. They should have signed him last offseason before Wentz, before Goff. I mean, once you see Wentz sign that mega $32 million deal, he was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL at the time of him signing. So after you see that deal get done, you have to go to Dak and you have to get a deal done. Obviously, hindsight is 2020. So looking back at it, it's obviously the Cowboys' fault to the point where they are now. But Matt, listen, I don't necessarily think Dak Prescott is worth $35 million a year. But what other option do you have? Are you going
Yeah.
to draft a quarterback in next year's draft? You're not going to have a high enough pick for Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence. I mean, even if Andy Dalton steps in, they're most likely having a pretty good season. Andy Dalton is an okay quarterback. You know, he started many games in this league, had some regular season success. So it's just how the quarterback market works. It's how the NFL market works. The next person up is the highest person played. You look at Khalil Mack, highest defensive player paid, and then Aaron Donald comes right after him. You look at Aaron Rodgers, he was the highest paid. Then Goff, then Roethlisberger, then Russell Wilson gets signed. I mean, it's just how it works. Then you look at Jamal Adams right now. I don't think Eddie Jackson is the best safety.
No way.
No. Yeah, no, definitely not. But he's getting paid as the best safety in the NFL because that's how it works. And because the salary cap keeps going up. Unfortunately, you know, as much as I would want Dak to take a bit of a hometown discount for the Cowboys, I mean, they gave him a shot to start in the NFL. Without Dallas, where would Dak be right now? Plus, you're getting all these endorsements as the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. I mean, I think it's the biggest position in sports. We could have an argument about that, but quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, it doesn't get much bigger than that. Let's be honest, right? So I think, you know, obviously Dak is being selfish right now. He has to look out for himself and his family, but it's business. And that's my thoughts on it at the end of the day. Dallas needs to get the deal done because they have no other options unless you want to be mediocre.
At the end of the day, that's what all these players have to realize, whether it's Jamal Adams, Dak Prescott, or any free agent still. Cam Newton, just to name another free agent, notable free agent. Jadeveon Clowney. This is a business. Yes, you're there to play football, but it's still business.
I think they understand that, but I think when fans, you know, get upset about the players not about the players like wanting more money, right? I feel like they kind of get slighted a little bit because as us fans, we are siding with the billionaires, with you know, the most fortunate, while these guys are busting their balls out on the field every day, you know, working, grinding every day. And the owners are too, to keep the team afloat, right? But all those players are putting their lives on the line every time they step on that football field, whether you want to say it or not, right? So I think the players get slighted when we think of that. But, you know, if there was no salary cap in the NFL, you know, it would be a whole different story, especially a hard cap like the NFL has. So, but I feel like you got to feel for both sides. You know, you can't always be on the team side saying, oh, well, the player is like selfish. You have to also look at it from a player's perspective because they're just like us. They're just normal people like us.
I'd say this is a really, really good point to end this. Does anyone have any last minute comments to add?
No.
All right, then we will be right back with Go Chat. Welcome back to Go Chat here. We are going to talk about fairly quickly one of the few live sports that we do have on TV right now, and that is the PGA Tour. They came back last week with the Columbia Memorial down in Texas, and we saw Daniel Berger win that, and then they did just finish up the RBC Heritage there in Hilton Head, South Carolina, where we saw Webb Simpson win that with a record 22 under. These players have been putting up incredible numbers these last 2 weeks, and it's gaining the PGA Tour so much viewership, along with it being one of the only sports on TV. These players are being incredible. We have players like Bryson DeChambeau, who have spent 3 months in their homes. Now they come back, and they're absolutely jacked and hitting the ball 350 right down the pipe. So my question to you guys really quickly is, do you think the PGA Tour is making these courses easier for the players to do better, thus for their viewership to increase?
I think that it's definitely a possibility, just because it would be very smart business. As like a business-minded person that I typically am, just thinking about like viewership, and obviously money talks. I mean, money is king, literally. So I think that it's definitely a possibility. I'm not 100% sure that they would do that, but with these guys putting up those numbers, it's possible.
Mike, what do you think?
I think it definitely is possible. I mean, if you look at golf right now, it's the only American sport, or the only sport to be back in America right now, right? And this is their time to hopefully move up the ranks and take over and gain more viewership, because we have nothing else to watch. I mean, unless you're waking up early in the morning for a European soccer game, then you have no other sports to watch. So I think, especially because of Corona right now, this is the time for the PJ to pounce on viewers and hopefully gain more viewership for their sake. And, maybe more people will start watching golf, as you've seen. And I think, it's kind of ridiculous. I was watching it the other day, and there were like multiple, like at least 20 people that were like 12 under on the course. I was like amazed. I'm like, I've never seen these numbers happen before. So I'm not exactly sure what PGA is doing. To be honest, I think they definitely are making it easier, and it's a good move by them because it's working, and you can see it in the numbers.
You mentioned the low numbers. In the tournament that they just finished up down in South Carolina, last year through 3 rounds, there were only 7 players who recorded a score of under 10 par. Yesterday, when they finished up their 3rd round, there were over 40 players under 10 under par. That's absolutely incredible, and it's numbers that the PGA Tour has never seen. And to see it coming back, the second event back after a 100-day hiatus due to the coronavirus, it's impressive. I don't know. Tommy, what are some of your final thoughts on the PGA Tour?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I certainly think it's possible. You don't see numbers like that, right? So it makes you wonder. And at the same time, it could just be that they're excited to be back out on the course and they're just playing incredibly well. But I'd have to agree with you. Numbers like that, it seems, more likely that the PGA is trying to do something, but you can't really fault them for that. They want to try to gain viewers in a time, where many more people are watching, and they're trying to make it more exciting. And you think about baseball again, like they say that they were juicing the baseballs last year to try to attract more fans by players hitting more home runs. And I think that worked for them. So I don't see any problem with it. I think it's good for the game of golf. They can attract more fans and hopefully keep those numbers up, even when other sports return.
I do just want to mention that the PGA Tour has gained a consistent follower in myself. I can't speak on the other 3 guys here, but it's definitely fun to watch them out there on the course. And let's hope that they can keep their viewership up. Go Chat will be right back with the Go to the Week.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are here with our signature segment, Go to the Week. Tommy won last week. He currently has 2 wins with the first pick of the MLB draft. That was his Go to the Week. Very nice Go to the Week. And right now, Connor has 2, Tommy has 2. Me and Matt are stuck at the bottom with 1, but don't worry. Hopefully this week I'll win. I don't really care about Matt, but
No, I'll win.
Okay, saying that you're winning, who is your Go to the Week this week?
My Go to the Week is John Harbaugh. If you guys don't know who John Harbaugh is, he's the coach of the Baltimore Ravens. And you guys are probably thinking, oh, the Ravens, what have they done? Well, this isn't towards the Ravens. This isn't towards the NFL. As you guys know, we record this the day before it comes out. So today's Father's Day. So I decided to pick Father's Day kind of Go to the Week. But don't worry, I have a story behind it. He's not just some random father that I'm picking out of a hat. John Harbaugh's daughter actually signed with, not signed, but committed with Notre Dame women's lacrosse, which is unbelievable because that's a really good D1 school. And obviously her senior season, it didn't happen because of coronavirus. So he's really just been training her throughout this whole process because he's been home instead of on the NFL offseason stuff that you have to do. So, he's been home training her, and he said that he doesn't feel like he's a coach. He feels like a dad, and it's been really special to him. And, I was reading this, and Allison, which is her name, she said she'd always look over to him and he'd be the happiest person that she's ever seen him. So I think that's just a great Go to the Week for a great day and Father's Day.
That's a great one, Matt. That might be a winner this week, but I'll swing it over to Tommy with your Go to the Week. Who is it?
I'm going to go with Albert Pujols for this As we all know, the country's going through difficult times. Lots of people losing their jobs. And the Angels have a facility in the Dominican Republic, and they had to lay off a lot of employees recently. So Albert decided to reach out to them and pay for all their salaries for at least the next 5 months, which I think is a great gesture. Albert's a great guy. Everybody's always known that. Legendary player, even better person to do something like this to help out the people in this time of need. So Albert's my go of the week.
That's a great choice, and I feel like he kind of owes it to the Angels. I mean, he's kind of robbing them right now with his huge contract that he got.
Albert's still good, though. He can still play.
Oh, he can hit. Running, At
Yeah,
least you don't have to do that
running's
much
not there,
running in
but-
baseball, so
Yeah, they don't pay him to run, though. They pay him to hit it 500 feet.
there you go. All right, Connor, what about you?
Mine is going to be a soccer player from Brighton and Hove Albion football team. It is Neil Maupay. He is a forward for the team, and in the first half of their game against Arsenal, he was involved in a collision with Arsenal's goalkeeper, which unfortunately took him out of the game. But the game was tied in the 94th minute when he scored a game-winning goal to make the score 2-1, and it was a terrific goal. He threaded it right through the to the top left corner of the net. So that is the reason why Neil Maupay is my go to the week. Mike finishes up here. Who's the go to the week?
That was a great pick there, Connor. I'm also going with an EPL player. For those of you that did not know, the English Premier League did return this weekend. Great news that more sports are coming back in the fold. But anyways, I'm going with the Chelsea player, Christian Pulisic. He got subbed on against Aston Villa. They were down by 1. He comes in, he scores the game-tying goal, and they do eventually win the game with Giroud scoring in the 62nd minute. But the thing that made this goal so special for Pulisic is that he's been injured since January 1st. So in his first game back, he comes in, ties the game, and he puts his team in a position to win the game. So big shout out to him. He was great, especially with the news about Timo Werner getting transferred to Chelsea. Who knows what's going to happen to him? Hopefully he can find some more playing time with Chelsea. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Obviously, Christian Pulisic is a U.S. national soccer player. So, yeah, let's go.
Probably the best American soccer player right now.
Yeah, he's definitely the best on the team. But I guess that wraps up episode 11 of Go Chat. Don't forget, guys, we are on Instagram. Pop-up tag right now. Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We really are going all out for you guys. Twitter. We also are having tier lists on Instagram. Tier list Tuesday, starting this Tuesday. We're starting with the NFL quarterbacks 2020 season, and we're going to do a tier list. Watch out for that on IGTV to see all of our explanations for that. Should be a good one, as we always argue about quarterbacks in general, Mike.
Okay, Mr. Rogers.
All right. So, other than that, subscribe. And yeah, we'll have any other final thoughts.
Happy Father's Day.
Oh yeah,
Happy Father's Day.
Big happy Father's Day, and we just appreciate the support of everyone.
for sure. We'll see you guys on Thursday for episode 12.